And I mean, when I conclude then also where I'm at right now in regards to the flow willpower situation, is that I think that when we use willpower to become as present as possible, then what I think it does is it raises our frequency. And what I mean with that is that I believe that we are vibrating in a certain frequency and that it shifts all the time. But if we look at the scale of Dr. David Hawkins, I think his name is, he has basically put all the emotions on different frequencies, starting with shame, guilt, apathy, anger, sadness. And then at one point you come to like a form of neutrality, courage, acceptance, love, joy, peace, enlightenment. In maybe not exactly in that category, but something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that when we are in a state of love or above, it's pretty easy to make decisions that are good for us in the sense that our flow just takes us in the right directions. We think about something that we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're in fear and we're thinking about this thing that comes as an inspiration to do, like put a video out online or stand in front of a stage or talk to this girl or whatever it is, we might not take the action because we have the fear thoughts popping in that are saying, you can't do this, you're not good enough, she's going to reject you, no one's going to watch your videos, whatever these kind of thoughts then pop up. And then we choose not to do it because of the fear of being rejected and not being good enough.
Yeah.
As soon as we're in higher frequencies like love, then we're just thinking, sure, let's do it. And I think that a beautiful example of that, even though I think that I don't want to promote the use of drugs, but I do think it gives an interesting insight sometimes when you're using MDMA, for example. And when I use MDMA for example, at a festival, I talk to people and I don't think about approaching that person and saying something and what they then might say back and how that may be awkward or maybe wrong. Even though when I'm not feeling good, I do think those things. And I resist the approaching someone, or maybe I have a compliment. Maybe I see a woman and even though I have my partner and I have a child now, I see a woman and I think she looks absolutely gorgeous. My programming and my fear could say like, no, you can't say that because you already have a partner. What she's gonna think, she's gonna give the wrong signal. You can't just say something like that because then she thinks you're flirting with her. There's all sorts of thoughts that could come up. And I'm using a girl as example, but I could say to a guy a similar thing. But if I just have the impulse, wow, I find you gorgeous, and that's it. I don't need anything from her. I just wanted to express that, and I allow myself. That's following that flow. But that's so much easier to do when I'm in a state of love. And of course, how do you call that? Chemically created in that sense, right? Because with the MDMA, you're feeling that. But of course, through presence exercises, through healing your trauma, you get the same experience over the longer term. But sometimes having that experience just is a good reminder of what's possible. That's what I feel. I don't feel like an MDMA experience is something that is not attainable. I feel it's definitely attainable. I've felt it before also without any drugs. It just gives me also a pathway to move towards that. But when I'm in that festival, I'm expressing all my love to everyone all the time. And I have no expectations whatsoever on what they're responding. And even if they look at me weird, my mind is like, oh, they must be in a bad mood. Or they must, or maybe I can even help them. And then I just approach even more. And I'm like, hey, are you okay? Are you doing fine?
Yeah.
Instead of thinking, oh, they thought I was weird and maybe they thought I wanted something and therefore they closed off. And no, I didn't make it my own. I kept it with them. And I even, from that loving place, approached even more to help them to see if they can also come and join me in love. Yeah, then we don't need willpower, I think. Because then we're
In that state, no.
No, then we're just flowing, and then we're having also amazing ideas. I also have festivals where I sit in the corner of the festival space and I have the music on the background. I take my phone out, I write down the best business ideas and things that I want to create with people, and that this person I have to tell that they did this really amazing, and I read it all out. And then the next day I actually take action on it and I actually do it. So it's this shift towards these higher frequencies where I do think willpower is necessary. Where when we are in fear, either choosing to break through the fear, feel the fear and do it anyway, meaning do approach this person, do the public speaking, do make the video, just do it, just break through it. But if that still feels like too big of a step, then to create also through willpower a setting in which you reflect on the fear, either by yourself, either through some traumatic therapy, breath work, talking with a good friend about it. Explore. become curious. Because, and I'm not saying this as if I have it all figured out, because I still run into it myself, but I try to be as curious as possible in the moment that I'm noticing that I have a fearful thought that is creating a contraction in me. I see two different emotions. I see contracting emotions and expanding emotions. The more contracting, the lower frequency. The more expanding, the higher in frequency it goes. And that also means, by the way, that if I move from an energy of maybe apathy or shame or guilt into anger, it's actually a raising of frequency. You could say anger is a negative emotion, but no, I don't think about it like that. You see, it's not. The balloons are already saying it. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's incredibly empowering when you're in shame or guilt because you're making yourself so small. And anger is like expressive and making yourself bigger and powerful. Of course, in that anger is also still something, maybe you're hurting someone when you're being angry to them, right? But it's at least you're standing up for yourself more than you did when you were in shame and guilt. So you're raising your frequency.
Anger is more like the catalyst, right?
For change. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely creates change. So what I use my willpower for is to put myself into the positions that I can raise my frequency, meaning I sit myself the fuck down when I don't feel like it to meditate or to look inside of something. I call my friend when I'm noticing that I don't want to call him because I just want to hide away my problems, which is especially the thing that men do a lot more, which also makes the suicidal rate for men 4 times as high as women. I believe it has a lot to do with the fact that men don't express their emotions. Women are a lot better at that. And so when we are actually able to grab that phone, and I feel the resistance because I feel a little bit shame. For example, I feel like I should have this solved already. I'm this teacher. I can teach people. Why would I run into this problem? I don't run it. So I shouldn't call someone to tell about this problem because it's not really a problem anyways. I can fix it, but then I don't fix it. So I've learned, no, in that moment, sometimes just grab the phone, call this friend that doesn't judge me for it, right? Because you need to choose vulnerability in the right places. Don't just be vulnerable everywhere because some people will make use of it. But if you have the right people around you that applaud your vulnerability and dive in with it, oh, interesting that it's happening to you. Where's that coming from? Why do you think that happened to you? And why are you judging it so much? And just asking these questions to help you figure it out. And maybe at one point there's this elevation and this releasing of these lower frequencies to come to this point where flows are automatic and it just moves basically through you. I think that's so far conclusion that I've gotten to. And then always I need to judge where I am at because sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna flow with it now and right now. But am I flowing with it because I'm actually avoiding, or am I using am I avoiding and am I using actually this thought about flow in the advantage of my avoidant behavior? That I'm avoiding the thing? Or is it actual flow and is it just good to follow it? And that's always discerning, choosing. And of course, always checking in with myself. Do I feel better after I did the thing that I let myself do? And then making mistakes. And being also okay with making mistakes. I think that's so important. Because as soon as you start judging your thing, it also creates, again, it creates a resistance and a lower frequency, actually. Because you're judging yourself, and therefore then afterwards you might feel shame that you've done it. And now you're actually lowering your frequency again.